Hello, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Renegade Arcade. It's actually our first one in about 8 months. It's been a very long time, guys. I'm so sorry for anybody who doesn't know. I got injured. I broke my knee into pieces and had to get surgery and everything. So it's been a rough recovery for me. That's why I'm in a different room and the lighting isn't as good and stuff like that. But anyway. Joining me tonight, guys, we have Brock.
Hi, for the love of God, keep Blooper Team away from Silent Hill.
We have Tyler.
Hey, give me that freaking Resident Evil DLC, you bastards!
And we have Josh representing the Halo fan contingent.
I'm just here to see. I'm here to rock out with my helmet out. Okay, that's.
All right, guys. So we have a lot to catch up on, including but not limited to Halo Infinite, Halo TV series, why you should not subscribe to Paramount Plus ever. No, I'm kidding.
Bill Knuckles.
Also,
maybe
some Nintendo news. They're apparently kicking ass in terms of sales and stuff. I just saw a very interesting article about the Wolverine game actually getting a really interesting writer. The guy who wrote Spec Ops: The Line. Anybody who's played that game knows what I'm talking about there.
Boy, that's gonna be a fun experience. Like Logan stabbing a guy and then freaking out, going about, "Oh man, horror!"
I cannot wait for it. Honestly, I'm ready for that.
Are you still a good man, Logan? How many humans did you kill today?
This writer is the best at what he does, and
He really
what he does is existential dread in the gameplay.
Welcome to Mad Report.
The greatest game you never want to replay.
They had better do that. Better do Match Report. I tell you. God. Okay. Anyway, we got mergers and acquisitions to talk about. We got the new Sony PlayStation Plus Essential Extra Premium, whatever you want to call it, Deluxe, whatever.
Turbo Deluxe Edition.
We got ourselves a WrestleQuest RPG game that sounds right up my alley because I love wrestling and I love games. So there you go. What else do we have, guys? We have a Dead by Daylight dating sim.
Yeah, a lot of Dead by Daylight weird stuff coming down the pike.
What is happening? I don't even understand. I'm just speechless for a second. Anyway, but yeah, let's start off with. We also have some Not-E3 news because Not-E3 is going to be happening in June, obviously. Because it's not E3, and we shall never not have video game press conferences. Or
Jeff Keighley's there, because of course he is.
E3 is so dead. E3 has 50 different life supports hooked up to it, and each year 2 more get pulled and 4 more get reattached.
Yeah, but it also is being physically cloned into something that's like, hello, I am not E3. I just looked exactly like it.
I am Summer Games Fest.
I'm just
beware my power.
I remember Summer of Arcade, but I don't remember Summer Arcade Fest.
Man, that's a deep cut. Yeah, well, hopefully Devolver will just put on a showcase because they always do it right.
Yes, throw the money at the screen effect again, please.
All right, and then I know that Tyler especially, and I'm pretty sure the other guys will want to talk about what games we loved in 2021. So why don't we start off right there, and let's kind of go from there. Since we missed a lot, we didn't get to do our game of the year list or anything like that. So let's talk about some of the cool games from 2021.
Ooh. Well,
Resident Evil Village. Shall we start off there?
Yeah, that definitely was a game that I think I liked quite a bit. That a year later, I still do.
I don't know. You didn't talk about it a whole lot.
Yeah, no, it's a very obscure game. I don't think a lot of people played.
Now, Brock, you seem to kind of cool off on that one a little bit, right? Towards the end, or
it did some things that I didn't like because, and Tyler even agreed with me to a point. He liked it more than I did, but I think we both mutually agreed that it started feeling less like a Resident Evil game. toward the end of it.
By the end of it, I'm okay with that, but I definitely acknowledge that it definitely became a bit more something else.
It's part Resident Evil, then it goes to PT for a hot minute, then it goes back to Resident Evil, and then it was into like Doom.
And then like Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, X-Lab level,
and it's like, and
then Modern Warfare 2019.
Yeah, and then if they continue, the next game is borderline gonna be. Do you guys remember Darkness? I want to say it was called. That had Faith No More guy voicing the weird monster with the arms.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Monsieur Jackie Estacado.
Yeah.
The Darkness.
If they keep continuing, I think 9 is going to be like a like that game again. You're not gonna. Because spoiler alert, you're not gonna play as Ethan anymore.
Which I think was honestly one of, and I don't mean this to shit on the character, but I think that was one of the coolest choices. That's like, the Resident Evil game where the main character dies. That's actually a first.
Yeah, they actually like very cinematic.
Yeah. He blows up at the end.
It's the most cinematics they've put into a Resident Evil game ever.
Yeah.
Which I will say is the biggest thing I appreciate. Keep doing that shit.
Yeah, that
RE engine's great.
Yeah, please show that off engine every time you can. Actually, it was probably the most emotional thing in the series, which is funny because the last emotional highlight was the previous game.
Yeah. Emotion isn't exactly
no, it's not.
With Resident Evil games.
Yeah, the previous emotional high was, oh no, Steve Burnside died.
Oh my god. Or the, oh wait, Sheva, I'm sorry. Trust your partner, Chris. Okay, Jill. Bye.
What we really need is some David Cage, some emotions.
Yes.
I still
polygons.
I cannot wait for the podcast of after we play Eclipse, and I want to blow.
Oh my god!
When that happens, I will. If he happens to be watching, there's another guy I know named Josh he loves David Cage, but also we meme on him a lot. Josh, I am sorry for the man I will be when Eclipse comes out, if it comes out.
It will.
If that's a pretty big if.
It's 2028, which I think is when they said it was rumored to come out.
Because they're having trouble getting staff for it. Which I remind you, it has been assuming that there is a farting ball sack inside of Quantic Dream because they got their shit together.
Yes.
Well, I will still remember for the short time that I had with Resident Evil 8 with that gameplay demo, which that's still probably one of the weirdest decisions of a demo to be like, here's, I want to say an hour, and that's all you're going to get.
Yes, the weirdest thing was like, here's a time limit.
Well, it's weird because
I remember playing it with Crystal. I had never played Resident Evil 7. I need to play it. I want to play it.
It's a good game.
It was a lot of fun. Same for Resident Evil.
7 is really good.
Yeah.
But I remember she could not get past hearing Ethan for the first time, just going, "The hell was that?" Just really throwing his everything and sounding so corny at the same time. But I thought it was perfect.
But that was the most. He's like the most Resident Evil character because like he still sometimes has really corny lines that only sounds like they'd be coming from like RE2 era.
He has some of the worst one-liners in gaming history.
That's why it's so great.
And he delivers them with all seriousness. There's a point where there's 3 sisters. They're all like, it's cicada-like maggots that they're made of, and they kind of like all function out, and then they swarm back together.
The iconic dominatrix daughters. Yeah.
Yeah. He kills one, and then he just goes, "I hate bugs."
No. The best one is when he kills. The best one is when he kills off, apparently 2021's most iconic and beloved character, and just goes, "No, you." That's literally what he does. He's told, I curse you, die forever, and he's like, "You're the one who's cursed."
Yeah, you're the one who's cursed. It is the best and worst lines ever.
The best thing is, the more the game goes on, the more he seems annoyed. Like, he's not even scared. He's more like, "Fuck this, I want to go home." Like, when he beats, like, the giant hammer guy, he just goes, "Eat shit."
Yeah.
That's it.
Also, you figure out that in recent memory, in, like, their recent games, Capcom is a real hard-on for hurting people's hands.
Is it true that he gets his hand cut off and he just super glues it?
Yep. Yep.
Essentially, in 7, it literally gets stapled back on, and no, I'm not joking. The best part is in 8, it gets cut off here. Part of his jacket gets cut off. He attaches it, put some medicinal stuff on it, and the jacket and the arm reattach.
The best thing is too, the way it gets cut off is straight up like an Evil Dead scene where it cuts off, and there's a delayed reaction where he's like looking at it and goes, ah, and the blood starts flying everywhere.
I could have sworn.
Yeah, that's true. That was very Evil Dead.
It gets cut off, and he just goes like, "Oh, damn it!"
Yeah.
I wish he had said, "Not again."
Yeah, and the best part is later he gets part of his hand bitten off, so he has 8 fingers left.
Yep.
And then the worst I've cringed in a video game in my life is in 8. There's a part where you go through this house that just burnt down, and he's pissed because he just lost someone he was close with, who is a girl that voices.
It's Jill Valentine.
Jill Valentine, yeah.
It's the
and he gets pissed and slams his fist up against a window pane, like a window frame, but it's the open part, and I'm like, that was just bit off like an hour ago, guy.
The best thing is there's maybe a reaction because he then goes, shit. It's like, did you just realize that hurt? I really hope that's what that line is.
First time listener, friend of Neoplasmic. Welcome to
my friend Carrie.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, no, it's very good.
Yeah, I like it more than 7, and I still like 7 a lot. The best thing about it is that it doesn't have the terrible pacing of like crashing into a wall with the boat. You can skip cutscenes, and the ending doesn't suck.
Brock, what was your favorite game of last year?
My favorite game of last year was actually Life is Strange: True Colors,
which I fully respect.
It was. I am a big sucker for these Life is Strange games, and oh boy, we talked about it before the podcast started that I was not the biggest fan of Life is Strange.
I've never liked the franchise until now, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and you get this girl Alex, who goes to Paradise Falls? I want to say it was, but she moves in and she gets in with this group of friends, and it's one of the first times where they have like months pass by in the same location. And I just immediately became attached to Alex. And like, if you play that whole game correctly and like ace it, it has one of my favorite endings in a video game ever. Because her power is that she's an empath, but she can basically kind of tweak how you talk by triggering emotions to make you come out with stuff you don't want to say. And like some of the visual representations of what people are feeling is really good. And like they have parts where you can literally take an emotion from someone, but that's going to alter how the ending happens with certain things. And it's really good. And
there's also a solid mission, a solid level that's nothing but a D&D campaign.
Yeah, they literally throw a D&D campaign in the middle of it.
That was actually my favorite part, which is like, this is the nerdiest thing, and this is adorable.
Yeah.
That was actually really, really cool.
They go whole hog into it. Even in the game, you can tell. And it's all for a kid who is like a parent of a divorce. And it's just, you can kind of, it's a Life is Strange game. So you know that there is a absolute jack of an ass in the background that's one of the characters that's waiting to betray you
every game,
and you kind of to a degree are like, please don't let it be that one, and then it ends up being that one, so it really hurts. But
also it has the best romance character in the whole series, Steph
Gingrich.
That character is amazing.
Yes, Steph and Alex are so good together.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't feel as terrible as like the first game with purple green hair. I can't remember her name.
Max and Chloe. You didn't like Max and Chloe?
No, I didn't.
I liked Max and Chloe.
I like Warren. He was a loser, but he was like a likable loser.
Yeah.
But guys, Captain Awesome though.
That's one of the
Captain Abusive Dad.
It was abusive dad. I thought it was a story about divorce. Okay, that makes it so much. Okay, that sounds so wrong out of context.
But it is great to get off it because there's not a whole lot I got to say about it outside of me just spoiling it if I talked about it. It has some of the best use of music ever. Somehow I did not get DMCA'd on Twitch, which I don't know how.
Oh my god, how did that not get DMCA'd?
I don't know. But she sings her own version of Creep in there, of Blister in the Sun. There's a really good use of Thank You from Dido at the end of it, which is so good. And it's like, it's a kid that is a child of a messy divorce. So
It's like this franchise was made for you.
Yeah, it is. It is. At points,
Down to all the lesbians.
Okay, so like I don't know if Josh knows. I have a good buddy of mine, Chris. If you're watching this, I have, let's say, a thing for, and he described it to me and ruined my life about 2 years ago when I talk about all the crushes I have in video games. And he goes, I figured out what your type is, and I'm like, yeah, what's that? Lesbians. Oh,
Okay.
Thanks. Which he's not wrong. I agree 100%. Because guess who I like the most in Cyberpunk? Judy.
Of course.
Who did I like
Judy.
in this? Alex. And what did I do? Go out of my way to make her be in a lesbian relationship.
Yep.
It's fine. I acknowledge it.
It's the best way to play the game, really.
My top favorite characters of the year, I would include Steph in there. Although, I'm still in love with my giant lesbian vampire girlfriend.
It does make sense, though. I mean, in relation to, that. I mean, Brock and Kiona know this. In Mass Effect, I've been playing as Fem Shep, and I was thoroughly disappointed that I could not romance Tali.
Mine was Miranda.
Or Miranda, or any of them.
The
Which
character was clearly written to be bisexual. I'm still angry about that to this
Jack.
day. That one very clearly.
you can't
those two
look
characters.
at a character like Jack.
There's even a
Look
joke
me
in the Citadel
dead-
DLC where
look-
like you two should kiss or something. It's like
You can't look at a character designed like Jack and look me straight in the eye and tell me that woman is straight. I am sorry. I know so many bi women in my life that have tattoos like that.
Actually,
I'm just saying.
there's actually no bi women in the entire series unless you count Liara, but I won't.
I'm going to quote Alana Pierce here. She literally just did this today. Alana Pierce. I cannot comprehend how any 100% straight woman can exist when other women exist.
Can't argue with that.
On that note, Brock, if you can excuse, I know what my favorite game of last year was.
Is it the
It
Legendary Edition?
was a critically acclaimed remastering of 3 beloved to some extent classic games from yesteryear. They may have a little bit of bugs, sure, but you know what? The experience will never be forgotten.
I actually am
Of
replaying
course,
it right now after
talking-
buying it last year and playing it.
I'm, of course, talking about the very warmly received GTA Definitive Edition. I'm joking.
I was like, where's he going with this?
In all honesty, I'm going to admit it. Last year was probably the biggest dry spell I ever had for new releases. Just there wasn't a lot of games, truth be told, that I got to play. But oddly enough, I got into a lot of older games from like catching up with stuff. I finally played Silent Hill 2 for the first time. I did a whole
Nice.
Editorial about it in my week of horror.
What ending did you get?
On the site?
Oh, yes.
I got the leave ending.
Okay, good. I was going to say, if you got in the water, I'm going to be depressed.
I was actually going for in the water, but the more I played it, it just felt like, no, you know what? This feels right. And I also got to play Alan Wake for the first time, which I guess can count as a new release from last year.
Well,
since it was a remaster.
Yeah.
But
No,
I also
it
I
was
played
good, though.
I played new some older games from the Remedy as well. I got into some of the older Max Payne games. They still hold up.
But in all honesty, the Mass Effect trilogy is probably my favorite game of last year, combined with what the Game Awards said was the best game of last year. It Takes Two. I'm not gonna lie, I
Good choice.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Me and Crystal have been dying for something to play together that isn't Mario Party, because sometimes, although we're competitive with each other, oh my God, are we competitive with each other? We also want something that we can just sit back and experience, like properly. And
it reminded me a lot of Brothers of Tale of Two Sons in a good way.
yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, the story actually got us both like really teary-eyed in a good way, and the game's so funny, man. Like, there's Kiona, have you seen anything about It Takes Two?
Just little bits and pieces of it.
There is a whole section where, because you play as a couple on the brink of divorce, pretty much about to get divorced, and their daughter, who's unnaturally British, just makes a wish to a self-help book, like, please help them get along again. And then they turn into dolls, and you have to like find a way to turn back into human. And the over-the-top Mexican self-help book is just like, you need to fix your relationship. And just like, no, we don't want any self-help. What do we got to do? Okay, look, our daughter created us like this on a wish. What do we do? What do they do in fairy tales? We got to get the tears off of the fucking kid. What do we do? How do we make our kid cry? They make their way to their kid's room. Oh, I got it. That's her favorite toy up there at the top of the castle. Let's go kill it. And they go up there to the top of the castle. And, the toy, I think what makes it even funnier and so much more tragic, the toy, I think, has the same voice as their daughter. And she's just like, oh God, how lovely it is that you've come. Are we here to play a game? And the dad's just like, yeah. And the mom's like, no, but Cody, we're going to kill it. What? You're going to kill me? No. And then she races the hell away, and you have to fucking chase this doll and engage in the most depressing boss fight you will ever experience in your whole life. And it culminates in this toy trying to get in a rocket ship and fly away, but you shoot the rocket ship down and it crashes. And then when it crashes, she gets out and she gets her like ear or something stuck in a thumbtack. So you're trying to pull it. You don't even want to kill it. You just want to throw it off a cliff. But as you're pulling it, you hear fabric tearing, and she's just like, oh, stop, it hurts. And you keep pulling, the ear comes off. And then you keep pulling and pulling, a leg comes off. You keep pulling and pulling, an arm comes off. And then the two main characters are like, this is so fucked up. I'm going to need therapy afterwards. And the toy's just like, oh, what's going on? I feel woozy. I feel faint. And
you're murdering Paddington Bear.
Pretty much.
You throw it off and the kid cries. And they're just like, oh, wait, she's crying. Quick, get all in the tears. Yes, let them shower. But it doesn't work, of course.
Of course it doesn't.
That gets props for being the best scene in any video game last year. Just killing the cutest thing in the world and just having it play out like the video game equivalent of Artex in Never-Ending Story.
With a little bit of like freaking like Saw.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's another great game from last year that I'm finally going to get to beat this year, which was second on my list. Well, I should say third. I like Resident Evil more than I like that. Returnal.
Dude, I was gonna say
Returnal might be the most abusive relationship I've ever had in my entire life. So second, I would say second underneath my father. Returnal is the most abusive relationship I've ever had in my life.
Did the DLC make it more abusive for you?
Yeah, I love that game so much. But okay, so Josh, Tyler, anything?
No. I played it.
You did play it. Okay, Josh, do you know anything about Returnal?
Isn't that basically the sci-fi Dark Souls starring Ripley from Aliens?
Kind of.
To a degree. It's like a
roguelike.
It's like Dark Souls difficulty. It's a roguelike. But the problem, roguelite, I say it wrong every time.
It's old school arcade shooter kind of thing.
It's ARG will kill me.
Yeah, and it's made by a company who's known for making these. The difference was this time, Sony went, here's a dump truck. It has all the money you could ever imagine in it. Make a really big version of that. And they did. And it's one of the most beautiful, well-playing games I've ever seen, with one of the coolest stories I've ever seen.
Dude, all of their games are solid experiences. At least decent to solid to amazing. So,
and this is too. The problem is it's structured badly in one aspect. And I think most people that play it agree it.
I know
roguelikes are meant to have runs last 20 minutes.
Yeah, like the FTL, a run will go an hour at most. Probably less.
These runs can go from anywhere to 1 to 2 hours.
Yes.
And if you die, fuck you, get back to the start.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
a whole
Like-
afternoon of playing it could just be off, and I'm like, cool.
It's like
See ya.
it's like
I'm not
playing
you anymore, Dad.
Hades, but it's a more cruel game.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's it's like if you were born in the 80s like I was and you went to an arcade and you only had 1 quarter and you had to get as far as you could on that 1 quarter and then you're dead afterwards
Yeah.
and you can't go back.
Yeah.
That's
It
that's
is-
exactly the experience.
It is not the game you do when you come back from like an 8-hour shift at a shitty job and you're like, I'm gonna relax and play a video game. This is not that game.
But
Death Stranding, it is not.
they just
Kind of is for me.
They just released a version that has a challenge tower, and the reason why I believe I'll be able to beat it now, multiplayer.
Yes,
Multiplayer.
and it is, but it's
Oh.
balanced multiplayer.
Yes.
They are allowing you to actually to like aren't they allowing some kind of like almost like a save feature?
They were tinkering around with like save states where you can kind of like go back and things like that. So they're make it like what they did not want to do was make the game easier. And I respect them for that because those boss fights are
for that
doable.
too.
They are very doable.
Yeah, they are.
But it's just if you die and having to go 2 fucking hours back possibly was the killer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
But-
do understand, I understand the criticisms levied at that game, but I do think that in terms of just its presentation and in terms of just the feel of it all, it captured a lot of what I love about games. So
And part of the reason why they said they can't change it, and I get it, Josh, I don't know if you know anything about it. You crash land on this planet and you pick up your starter pistol off your dead body.
Yes.
And every time you die, you crash land on the planet again and relive the day. It's sci-fi Groundhog Day.
Mhm.
So dying a lot literally ties into how the story works. So it's like, do you make it so you barely ever die so you don't get story beats? Because you literally get new story info when you die.
That's true.
It's weird. But
the atmosphere is so foreboding and so
It's
creepy,
oppressive.
and I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it is
That
a game
house,
that
man. Even in the early part, like that house that you go into, where it's like, it's creepy the fuck out.
It's
but,
Fire Sprite,
I love
right?
it.
Or Fire Sprite? Am I saying
I
that
believe
wrong?
so.
Yeah, they're an unbelievably great developer.
It's Housemark.
Housemark, and Fire Sprite's
Yeah.
another one that Sony has.
Yeah.
Housemark, thank you.
Yeah.
Housemark is a great developer. They're
awesome.
yeah.
Everybody
couple
needs
years
to
for
go play
roguelike.
Resogun and Next Machina and all those games because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Resogun
It's been
especially.
a good couple of years for roguelikes between this and Hades.
Oh yeah, man. Hades is a game that just keeps getting better with age. Like I swear,
Yes.
I can go back to that and just keep playing it. Like it's so
That was my
good.
favorite game that year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so that's our 2021 Game of the Year list. Let's talk about now. What do you guys want to talk about? How about we talk about mergers and acquisitions because we didn't really get a chance to address this. But anyway, so it kind of just started off with
Avocado sucks.
Exactly. It does start off with that. Yes. I will say that in a way, okay. So Microsoft acquiring Activision.
Biggest
or the
shocker ever.
process
It's
of it.
still going to be in process for a while because people are
It's gonna
fighting
be in
that
process.
freaking tooth and nail.
For somewhere around 69 billion, which nice.
Ugh.
They basically okay, so they're expecting it to go through pending the the antitrust investigations and all that stuff, which is I think valid. But what do you guys make of this anyway? Microsoft buying Activision, they bought Bethesda. There's just
I
it's
haven't
this
done a whole
too
lot
much
with Bethesda
power.
since buying it, actually.
Well,
They
that's the
haven't. They've been
problem, though.
delay
They bought
games.
a company that takes 8 years to make a game.
That keep pushing their
True.
games back
So
every year,
they
too.
bought a company like, cool. They basically caught up with a good chunk of the types of games that Sony make by buying, because they didn't just buy Bethesda, they bought ZeniMax, the parent company, so they got 9
correct.
studios.
Correct.
They got Arcane, people that make Doom.
They got was it the people that made the new Wolfenstein games?
Wolfenstein, Arcane,
Oh, God, something-
Tango Gameworks, Arcane Studios,
Machine
bought
Games.
Machine Games, that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
got a
was it.
bunch
Yeah.
of studios.
It's software.
With the other thing, it's just like that to me was bad. We have limited money, and we're still not catching up with Sony and a lot of things, so we're going to buy them. That is kind of what it seemed like, and then immediately everyone was like, they're going to make it exclusive. I'm like, you would lose a lot of money, and then not the head of Microsoft, not the head of Xbox, the head of Microsoft went, we're not stupid. That stuff's going on every platform. I'm like, yeah, because I don't know if you know, right before that happened, the latest Call of Duty numbers came out, and 75% of Call of Duty players played it on PlayStation.
And it was also one of the lower earning games in the series.
Yeah.
See, that's the real reason why Microsoft bought them. Let's be honest. It wasn't for their vast library of diverse and insanely intuitive games ranging from, like their platformers to their sports games and everything like that. They wanted them solely for that Call of Duty exclusivity in some way.
I was hoping you were going to say they're known for their Call of Duty and their Call of Duty and their Call of Duty, but don't forget their Call of Duty.
And
there's 3 studios they have for Call of Duty, and then
that's
2 of them.
That's the main thing. They wanted them solely for that, just to be like, yeah, we've got the market in some way, but don't worry, we're not going to curb it too hard. But
more
we've
like
got
8 studios at this point, seeing how they make like High Moon and like Beanox keep working on Call of Duty with Raven software. Like it's like 6 game companies.
It's so sad because in my mind, Activision's biggest enemy, aside from their corporate side as well as their toxic work environment,
Bobby
and their evil president.
Yeah,
it's the fact that they will see anything that doesn't sell Call of Duty numbers as, all right, well, let's go ahead, let's liquidate that developer into the Call of Duty mines, as Matt McMuscle calls it. The most tragic thing for me was what they did to Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions. Because you guys know me, viewers of the podcast and everything know, I'm a huge Crash Bandicoot fan. And
they own that now.
I was
isn't that nuts? That's so weird.
It was over the moon with the fact that the Insane Trilogy was really good. I still haven't played Nitro Kart or Tag Team, whatever the hell it's called, but
Crash Team Racing,
Crash Team Racing and Crash 4 from Toys for Bob was really great. Same for their Spyro collection, as well as Vicarious Visions remastering of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. That was actually very high up on my games of 2020.
Oh yes, Pro Skater 2, the greatest game ever made.
It was so good, and they had this talent, both of them did, of remastering as well as innovating within those set parameters. And the fact that just because Crash 4, which was a great game, although if you're a completionist for Crash Bandicoot, like I am, it's undeniably Chinese water torture in the form of, whoa! At least they were. To be fair,
there was a lot of games last year that were like pulling fingernails if you wanted 100% it.
Fair point, but the fact that those numbers weren't that good, and they're like, nope, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's suck Vicarious Visions into the Diablo remaster, and let's just make them do Call of Duty DLC. Toys for Bob, you're doing Crash Bandicoot 4. You did all right, but you know what? It didn't have another 0 at the end of that fiscal year, so you're coming with us.
Yeah, this feels like the court of Louis the 15th. You didn't impress me enough, therefore you were condemned.
It's Joaquin Phoenix and Gladiator. Just
pretty much.
Didn't make me happy. Die.
Yeah, and now it's like anything that they're trying to put out now, it's just like they're starting to realize that maybe we have to put effort into stuff because Overwatch 1.1 is going to do really great. Oh, and that's
gun to my head. I can't actually tell the footage still.
Yeah,
the lighting is different because they showed me the difference.
I could have sworn
not McCready looks better now.
I could have sworn Donkey did a video on Overwatch 2. He's like, oh, you think that you're watching Overwatch 2 footage? No, good sir. This is Overwatch 1. This is Overwatch 2. Can you tell? The map's set in the daytime now.
Yes, exactly. That's pretty much what they did.
That's it.
Yeah.
This should have been Overwatch, labeled as Overwatch DLC.
It is. It's so disappointing, and I hope it yields some positive change. Is that the optimist in me?
Yeah. What's the hacker character lady from Overlap? What was her name again?
Tracer?
Sombra.
Sombra. That was it. That reminds me of like one of my favorite all-time jokes about Overwatch, which is Sombra is such a good hacker that when you pick her, half the other team disappears because they don't want to play with you.
That in May. The ongoing joke with my buddy who used to play Overwatch all the time, my buddy Chris, again, if you're watching this, was always going, yeah, they buffed Mercy. Next time I talk to him, yeah, now they debuffed Mercy. I'm like, did he do that with every patch? Yeah, they don't know what they want to do with those characters.
You're not even kidding. You do a compilation of every patch. Buff, debuff, buff, debuff. Like, pick something, please.
And then that's the one thing, again, with Blizzard, they are not innovators. They're perfecters. But I think a lot of those people don't work there anymore.
The perfectors. Is that what we're going to call that World of Warcraft Reforged?
Well, they weren't known for coming up with ideas. They were known for going, people really like that? What if we made a version of that? Cool.
That's why they married Activision, because they were also a similar philosophy.
Tyler, that was a Chernobyl level burn right there. Oh my god.
The world wants to forget that even happened.
Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to play Minecraft, RuneScape Classic.
Party like it's 1998.
Woo! Get up your modems, baby. Hope no one's on the phone.
Drop your polygons in the air. Wave them asymmetrically like you just don't care.
Stop talking to Grandpa, Mom.
I want to play StarCraft on my modem. I need to be stacking turrets in the runway. Stop.
I got a Zerg.
It's a real thing. Shut up.
It'll be respected one day, Mother.
Mother.
But
we're not gonna be allowed any StarCraft tournament now.
I love StarCraft, but man,
there's a really big. Could you call it an acquisition though? Like in that sense, we got to talk about Square Enix getting on the ground floor. On the biggest innovation in all of business, in all of video gaming.
I saw that and I laughed and I cried and I cried and I laughed.
Square Enix, the legendary studio behind such groundbreaking titles as Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. I got the
Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts
featuring Final Fantasy characters. It says 0 days since a Kingdom Hearts reference.
You need to get that in some darker marker.
I know that was a pen.
I need a sign for that for like Resident Evil too.
But also the owners of Crystal Dynamics and all of them.
And Tomb Raider.
That's
why.
Former.
Can you believe they were so desperate to get rid of those useless studios that they got rid of Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal for $200 million. That is what Sony bought Insomniac for.
Yeah, they lost. How many franchises we count here? Kingdom Hearts. They lost. Deus
No, they kept
Ex.
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, Deus
they
Ex,
kept all the ones they liked.
Tomb Raider's gone. Deus Ex is gone.
They basically, I believe the phrasing was, they got rid of the American stuff.
Pretty much.
Those didn't make any money.
How were you that okay with letting go of Tomb Raider?
Yeah, seriously.
How are they that okay with letting go of Guardians of the Galaxy? Wasn't that a big success?
No. They labeled that as a massive failure.
Yes, it didn't make any money. It was
They did.
Game.
Despite the fact that it was one of the best games they have ever put out.
It was the yin to the yang that was the Avengers game.
Yeah.
Wait, so they thought that Avengers was profitable?
No, the problem
that was also a failure.
The problem was that stink made people incredibly hesitant to try Guardians.
Understandable.
Which it was, so not a lot of people tried it.
But then they did, and it turned out it was a great game.
Yeah.
I will say this for Guardians, though. Like, one of the things that I really didn't like about that game was just the incessant chatter. That
you would have loved the Telltale version of this.
That irritated the crap out of me when I was playing it. I don't know why, and it just his stupid guns irritated the hell out of me. I don't know. I don't love that game as much as like a lot of people do. I just
That's
think, yeah, it was all right though. It was all right. I will say it was definitely an improvement over the Avengers game. But yeah,
Well,
I don't love it.
I could take a shit on the floor and mark it guaranteed, and then that
Yes.
could be better than the Avengers game.
But you had to put
I
a
mean,
sticker on it
that's
that
true.
says this is Kamala Khan.
Avengers is fun though when you do play it with a friend. Like I didn't enjoy Avengers, but I did enjoy my time playing it.
Fair, rolling a
with
turd is fun.
When
with
you
a
have
friend, too.
someone else to step in the shit with you, it's mildly better.
Like
Okay,
Sisyphus would have had more fun with a friend rolling that boulder up a hill.
In all fairness, like because I don't play those games a lot, but when I play that and Destiny 2 with Kiona, I actually do have fun.
Fair.
But
Destiny 2 plays a lot better though.
I do remember
much so.
though.
It does.
I do remember having to slog through the demo so that way I could get to that point where I could play with Kiona. And
That's true. You got to really slog through the opening, the new light segments.
Although the funny thing is, the Marvel's Avengers game included Kate Bishop before the MCU did.
I mean, that's true. But
Yeah.
that ain't.
And at least their Kate Bishop was great, and on top of that, voiced by Ashley Birch.
I mean,
I like
go on
her.
with her.
I don't know if you've noticed. I like how Ashley Birch is now, hey, we need a female that uses a bow. Who are we gonna get?
well,
Hold on.
She's
One second here.
typecast.
Does she use a bow in Life is Strange?
No.
Actually,
She
that
uses
was
a
pre-bow casting.
Yeah, that was pre-bow casting. No, that was before Zero Dawn and a couple years
Yeah.
before. Also, keep in mind, Square Enix
since we're
got
pulling the
rid of Tomb Raider.
since we're pulling the autograph card,
kept
I also got
that.
that.
Well, that's not autographed. That's just a picture. I
Close
wish it was
enough.
autographed. Ashley is still on that list, but they kept Life is Strange.
Yes.
They kept Life is Strange,
That's
Outriders.
that's weird.
There was one other big one that
It's
they
weird the
kept.
Outriders actually stayed around because I thought that was all right.
It was.
They
It had a
consider-
really rough start, but it got a lot better.
Do
Right
they
now,
consider
it's really
Outriders a
better.
success, or is that like?
It's not like a booming success, but once they got the balances figured out now, like they're putting out DLCs and a lot more people are playing.
It's a
Yeah.
tentative success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, I like Life is Strange, but I'm like, you kept Life is Strange over Tomb Raider?
And Deus Ex, which I know they haven't made a Deus Ex in a while, but it's Deus Ex.
It's Deus Ex.
I'm not gonna lie, it's just
And-
so bizarre.
We didn't mention the best part of the story, which is where they proceeded to put all their money.
Oh,
Blockchain.
Oh,
They put it in
yeah.
the blockchains and NFTs, which immediately died the next day.
Yeah. And they sold it to the Embracer Group, which is silently getting. They put out some stupid numbers of how many employees and different freaking IPs they have now. It's THQ
They own a
Nordic and
lot.
all of that. It's ridiculous.
They have acquired a lot.
For almost nothing.
For almost nothing. And also another one of the franchises that they got was Legacy of Kain.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Please do something with that.
Yes, please. Remake it or something. Like people
Do
will buy
anything.
it. I will freaking buy it. Yeah.
I can't help but find it funny though that the NFT bubble more or less burst the day after that. It's almost as karmically universally as hilarious as what happened today, where it was announced that Riverdale was finally ending on its 7th season. And immediately after, like an hour or so later, it was announced that Disney Plus is doing a revival / continuation of Daredevil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you imagine the person in charge at Square Enix going like, we got all the NFT money. It's going to be great. Oh, no.
Wait,
Cut to
Tim?
Joe from
what do you
Arrested
mean that
Development.
fake thing isn't worth money anymore? Oh, Well, shit.
I'm
Cut to
genuinely surprised there
Joe
wasn't any
from-
like people like jumping out of windows. It's like it's the most embarrassing failure I think I've seen. It was so preventable.
And cut to Job from Arrested Development. I made a mistake.
Yeah, I think I made a real mistake.
Like, I could not think of a more universally just fuck you thing than NFTs. And then everyone went, but wait, what if we still did?
The saddest thing is all the companies that were jumping head in at the beginning of the year.
I know.
And like people like Troy Baker was like,
oh God.
I like to be an artiste and I'm going to participate in NFT voice lines because you know there's only going to be one copy of that. Oh wait,
yeah,
everyone fucking hated it. I'm no longer going to be doing that. I now realize the folly of my choices.
At first, the first thing is like never listen to losers that don't actually believe in you. And every human being on the planet just literally went, hey, Troy, fuck you.
Yeah, like guy.
In
We're the ones that
all
buy your games.
in all fairness, though, at least everyone set the record straight with Troy Baker and Rob Paulson and all of them. I think Tara Strong's still far down the rabbit hole with that, but
She's too late
I
to
didn't know
save.
she was.
but Tara Strong is still great. So, personally
well-
speaking, NFTs aren't the devil, in my opinion. There's far worse things out there in the games industry and in general business, like everything going on with Activision. There's crunch for developers and all that stuff. In my mind, the fake money stuff is just kind of, yes, it's damaging.
Well, the problem is
the
it's not just a
environment.
gaming thing; it's like a societal problem.
Yeah, and I'll admit it makes me cringe when I see like Brie Larson with an NFT like
That was
2-bit thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to be like burn them at the stake. And I think it was that overcorrection that kind of helped Troy Baker at least redeem himself in my eyes. Same for
I'm pretty
Rob
sure he just
Paulson.
realized that like I'm not gonna make any money if I do
Oh,
this.
it would take a
That
lot for me to
too.
not like Rob Paulson.
I
mean, it was an
I think, just didn't
interesting-
know. Rob Paulson, like he didn't know.
Yeah.
It was,
now
it was a
Nolan North, he immediately went, "This is bullshit."
yeah.
Maybe that's why they don't
Well,
do that podcast anymore.
You can tell the ones that have been paying attention, and you can tell the ones that just get a boatload of money offered to them, and then they just kind of go with it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it was interesting because Troy Baker didn't he just hop on like a lot of Pierce's podcasts, like her video podcast, right
He's
on
been
the same night.
well. He's been had a podcast with her for like almost 2 years now.
Right. But I
Really?
mean, he
But-
just kind of went on there like on the same day or something, or the same night or something, or like maybe the next day. But
Yeah,
like,
there was a podcast all about him changing his mind and the
Yeah.
mistake that he made. Because I don't
But
think
I
he was
liked-
on the podcast the week that he made that decision, and then when he went back on the decision, he went back on.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I like the fact that they actually had a nuanced discussion about it because
Yes.
there's not enough of that in today's society.
true.
So.
that is
Yeah.
true.
Especially with how hyperbolic and vitriolic like the internet and especially Twitter can be. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. If one thing comes from Elon Musk buying Twitter, I hope it's that site burns to the fucking ground.
If anything, it's I just think there's going to be brakes taken off the train, and you don't know when it's going to hit the wall.
But it will.
Oh yeah, it will.
There'll be no survivors.
Yeah. All right, guys. Oh, let's. Well, one of the ones, the last acquisition that we have to really talk about is Sony pretty much purchasing Bungie. That's
yes.
an interesting thing.
Yes, we mentioned earlier, Spyro and Crash
With
are more than
Microsoft.
likely going to Microsoft. And the people that helped create Master Chief are going to Sony. What
Yep.
world are we living in?
We would be
Yeah.
looking at a very interesting E3 if only it hadn't died.
I love how
But it lives.
instantly everyone went, wait, now Sony gets Master Chief? I'm like, that was a
No.
Microsoft thing they let
Yeah.
Bungie make. That's not happening.
Yeah, no.
That was never a thing.
Now
Calm
that
down.
Destiny money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
they're
mean,
making
Destiny's
some
always
money.
going to be cross-platform.
Yeah. It'd be dumb not to.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, what? Guys, hear me out for 2 seconds. I'm not going to try and make this a giant rant. In my opinion, if you're going to have a studio, that is exclusive to your platform, you build it.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to hop on Sony's dick. I know that I'm wearing a Sony shirt and a Sony hat, but most of those studios they bought when they had next to nothing for employees, bought them for dirt cheap, and now they're making amazing games because they just throw money at them and knew they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy, and like I was okay with them even buying Venomax because that was basically we caught up when Xbox bought that. But let's not get into a term of which one makes a lot of money. Let's buy that one and make it exclusive because they already did the work. We're just going to buy it. No, build it up on your own. Then I'm okay with it being exclusive. Don't go, we want to make sure you buy our console, so come to Papa.
And that's the same thing that you were saying earlier, which is that also has an inherent problem of the fact that they made money being multi-platform. Like if you take the Call of Duty franchise and you make it exclusive to Xbox, they're not going to make, or PC and Xbox, they're not going to make as much money.
Well, the only thing is the current deal with Sony is that it's just simply they get DLC quicker, which is not really much of an incentive, just more of an asshole move.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Like, I'm going to use this as an example, and believe me, I could be wrong with this, but at one point, did Xbox have kind of a grip on Insomniac?
They made an exclusive game for them.
Yeah, they made Sunset Overdrive.
It was Sunset Overdrive. Did anybody play it?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, it did, but it wasn't.
It was a launch title, wasn't it?
I think so. Maybe it was close, but it wasn't hailed as a giant success.
No, it's a solid game.
It's not that game, but
solid game.
Okay,
and you can playing it. You can tell they're good at traversal mechanics, and I think that's why they got hired to make Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like, the thing with the studio is they don't like games that do okay.
Yeah.
Microsoft wants another sleeper hit like Halo from back in 2001.
Yeah, and that's just not something anyone really does anymore.
Crazy thing is,
well, you know, like the
PC game.
They acquired
with what was it? Gearbox that did the PC port.
I mean, because they've acquired though a lot of those like smaller studios like Raven and like High Moon. I mean, Raven and High Moon have done like excellent games in the past.
Those
Raven
Cybertron games from High Moon are fucking fantastic.
Dude, Raven they made a game called. Do you remember a game called Dark Watch?
Yes,
I know of it.
The original Xbox. Yeah, I mean, I have it. But
they did the multiplayer for Wolfenstein, Return to Wolfenstein, like the Enemy Territory. I think it's called.
Yeah, like High Moon has been a really good studio, and so has Raven. Raven did
High Moon did that Deadpool game in 2013,
and that is kind of what killed them because no one bought it.
And that game you can't even buy anymore because the license expired.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. So there's our mergers and acquisitions talk.
Yeah. But also a big reason behind that acquisition, and they openly said it, is that Sony wants to start making live service games, and the big thing behind Bungie, obviously outside of it's Bungie, it's a company that is known for online stuff. Sony has never been a big focusing on online multiplayer thing before, so they're getting more into
more single player, like all their big games, like God of War and Last of Us are solo.
So they're moving in that direction. So that was,
they are working on. Bungie is working on a new game. I don't know if it's going to be a Sony thing or
it was. It's, all we know is it's third person, right?
I believe so.
I thought that's what it said. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd imagine they keep that multi-platform because, like, I hope they all do. I don't care who owns the damn company. Let everyone play it. You can even have your damn company logo show up on it. Like MLB The Show, which was PlayStation for forever now, is now on Xbox, which is great.
That was super weird.
Yeah.
That was super weird just booting that thing up and just being like, okay, there's Sony Computer Entertainment Presents. And I was just like,
yeah, everyone
interesting times we live in.
Sony, you can keep Quantic Dream.
No, they're not anymore, though. Quantic Dream wanted out from only not being Sony. They want to be multi-platform. I'm like, you might regret that decision.
With that, pal.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Emotions for all.
Can we let the Ouya have Quantic Dream?
Google Stadia?
Ooh, there you go.
Which it still exists, theoretically.
Theoretically, it still exists.
Still plays Destiny 2. Yeah,
Remember,
that'll run
Stadia?
badly.
It's back in PAG form.
That was the funny thing. Like this week, was it this week or last week? It was like I got a Twitter alert. It was like, so apparently the Resident Evil multiplayer game Reverse has been rated by the ESRB for Google Stadia, and everyone went like, "Oh, a game that should be dead for a console that should be dead." It's like a match made in hell.
Yay.
To all the 2 people who still play that thing.
That's like, hey, for fun, do you want to stab a dead squirrel with a knife? Yeah, sure. You and the rest of the weird kids can go in that corner.
I'm morbidly curious about that game at this point because even in my wildest dreams, I couldn't imagine it would be delayed a full year.
I don't think that thing's ever coming out.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like in the closet somewhere. Someone's like, "Hey, you want to release that game?" It's like, no, not really.
Big set. Slowly, Capcom's going, this was a bad idea.
I can't believe it. A multiplayer Resident Evil game was a terrible idea. Why didn't no one tell us this?
It's called learning from your past.
Capcom's good at that sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very good at that.
Sometimes.
Okay, guys, what are your thoughts on the new PlayStation Plus tiers, whatever you want to call them? PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now.
I like the idea. I want to see what the full list of all the classic stuff is before I decide this classic approach.
I don't think it has enough classic stuff.
Oh,
Well, they
There's
haven't
a
released
list.
the full list of it yet, though. They
I
only
thought there
released
was.
like 100 of the 700 games they say they have.
And you can play Ape Escape.
Yeah.
We know that for a
Wait,
fact.
Yeah.
Say what you will. At least like they're starting to remember. Oh yeah, we have games from the '90s
Yeah.
and the early 2000s.
Just like catch up though, because Microsoft already figured this out like a couple years ago.
What were the?
They're different
Kinda.
services. Like, to me, though, they're still not the same service. Because
No.
that's focusing on games that are newer and putting it on, and they're putting on a lot more stuff that's already there, and
Yeah.
then going out for a classic touch. Like, I can't remember who did it, but someone did a very good breakdown of showing they're going for very different things. And yeah, I'd much rather do that for old stuff that they're refurbishing and sending up, because they're doing a lot more than just going, there's games and throwing it on a
I'll just
thing.
say I'm willing to do disgusting things to Sony if they have the entire Plow and Hill series on there.
The old versions, not
Yeah,
the
not
stupid
the
HDs.
collection thing with Troy Baker. Fuck that. No, that didn't happen.
God. But yeah, I'm waiting to see what that full old school list is, because of that tier, they only showed like 10 games. And they said there's a lot more, because like I said,
Yeah.
they said 700 something games.
Can I just say that's one thing that Konami and Capcom have in common, which is they do not give a shit about the older versions of their games.
They kind of, well, Capcom, it was either Capcom or Konami, is also very bad at keeping masters of their games. Like, Konami lost the original master of like 2 or 3 different Silent Hill games to where they just couldn't get shaders and stuff.
That was why
because
their
they lost
collection was
the
kind of a
masters.
mess.
I will never
Yeah.
blame those guys though, because
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
blame them. It's like I'm talking more like for some reason, like Capcom wants to act like Silent Hill, Capcom, Resident Evil 2 and like 1 and 3 never happened. But they're like, we have
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. It's called remake, 2 make, and 3 make. It's like that's not what I was talking about.
Well, to be fair, Remake 1 is a lot better than the
It
first
is,
one.
but I want to play the darn cheesy lines in HD quality on my big flat screen.
so the thing that really scares me about the new PlayStation thing is that Sony released a trailer for it, like showing off like this is what's going to happen, whoa, and they showed the different tiers and everything like that. And it gets to like
Yeah,
the higher tier, it's like play classic games. You want footage? We're not going to give it to you, and that makes me really nervous because I hope that they are actual like ports, not like full on like, you know, obviously reworking it from the ground up, but I mean, I don't want the same kind of emulation that we get. I say that I don't have it, my friends don't have it, but the same kind of emulation that like the higher tier Nintendo Switch online users get for N64 games, where the emulation is so god awful it makes friggin' Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time look like Roblox.
Well, that is, you want to talk about companies that don't care about old games. Nintendo sadly does and doesn't give a rat's ass about their old
Sega's really
games.
bad too with like older games.
I'd say that as someone that owns the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection.
Yeah, it's
Like playing Donkey Kong Country, the original one. That's a fun experience.
Yeah, there's a reason why I have this thing sitting here. I have parts N64s because I was like, why should I get a Switch? And then someone's like, they're putting all the N64 games on there. You can finally play it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll wait. And then my buddy Josh went up to me. He's like, you would have a better luck just using your 64. I'm like, it's that bad? He's like, it's worse than what I expected. I'm like, oh.
So I don't have the full list. Like, yeah, it doesn't have a full list, but like the classic list that it has right here, PlayStation first party games. Ape Escape, Hot Shots Golf, IQ Intelligence Cube, Jumping Flash, Siphon Filter, Super Stardust Portable, this is PlayStation 1.
Mhm.
Third-party games, Mr. Driller, Tekken 2, Worms World Party, Worms Armageddon, and then the slightly longer list of remastered games. Ape Escape 2, Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits, Dark Cloud, Dark Cloud 2, Fantavision, Hot Shots Tennis, Jack 2, Jack 3, Jack X Combat Racing, Jack and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy, Rogue Galaxy, Siren, Wild Arms 3, Bioshock Remastered, Borderlands The Handsome Collection, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, and Lego Harry Potter Collection. And if this is just a starting point, I'm cool with that. Obviously, I think they're gonna add more. I mean, they'd be stupid to not add more. I think we'll get stuff like, you know, the if they're doing remasters like this, I think they'll probably do something akin to like having the Metal Gear Solid collection,
Which is a solid collection.
Which would be great. That would be a great reason for anybody to subscribe to that if it means getting to play those classic games. For some people, for the very first time, especially since Konami is Konami. But at the same time, I think it's just me, but I missed out on the PlayStation 3. That was one that
I did too.
When I got the PlayStation 4, my collection is primarily built up of some of the remasters that they did for like from PlayStation 3. You know, The Last of Us, Uncharted, Mass Effect, all that stuff.
Please tell me you played Bioshock.
I actually have. I'm not done with it, but I'm getting through it. I'm whittling it down.
Because like I'm not gonna say anything. I love that franchise.
Brock is gonna feel the pain. Brock and Kiona are gonna feel the pain when I say this. That's probably gonna be the next thing that I finish after I beat Mass Effect 3.
Well, I'll see you in 100 hours because I know how long Mass Effect takes to beat the whole series.
Aside from Silent Hill Shattered Memories, Josh, if you happen to watch this, I will finish it. I know it only takes 2 hours, apparently.
Also known as Psychology 101, the video game.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
It is really good. It is really good. And like, as far as those,
I like.
Yeah, those classic games listed, the weird part about this is you can go look up and see that they just picked a random grab bag to throw on there for what they have.
Yeah, there's no
because they've already said every Siphon Filter game is on there, but they don't have them listed in that list. They only have one of them.
Yeah.
So they just went, here's some of them. And then when the game lists, they're going to have all of them there. I was like, what? The weird thing was, I'm like, you shouldn't have listed any of them. You should have just let the list come out or put the full list.
Honestly,
why would you put a random list of 100 games of 700 you have?
Who puts them together a list and picks Ape Escape next to Bioshock?
I'm like, but one thing that is cool, give or take, and we talked about them earlier. We didn't talk about them earlier. Ubisoft Plus is coming with PlayStation Plus, so that's kind of cool. If you like Ubisoft games, which I do because I like Far Cry, so
I'm hopeful. And you know what? The other thing that's involved is that a lot of their free games that they're launching into is going to be some of the like higher profile PlayStation 5 releases, you know, like Death Stranding, the director's cut, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank,
Rift Apart.
Part 2.
Rift Apart. I almost said Nuts and Bolts.
God,
don't say that.
We do not speak of that thing's name.
Yeah, on this podcast, we have 2 rules: no David Cage, no Nuts and Bolts.
and Returnal is one of them. And you know what? To get all those games for free by paying maybe like $20 or $40 more for a PlayStation Plus for a year. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a steal. And when you get a PlayStation 5, I think they said that like that will transfer over to that. So that's genuinely cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
So
Go ahead.
that does lead to my next question, which is, are you guys going to upgrade?
I am. I'm going to
not.
the top tier.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'll upgrade when I get a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Which is getting easier.
Yeah. They're actually just having bundles out there now. Like I've seen physical bundles in store because they have a Horizon bundle.
If you go to Amazon, the prices for Xbox Series X's and PS5s are now kind of close to like retail price.
And one other thing that
Getting closer.
Yeah,
Closer.
There's two other things that they have that we haven't mentioned, which I'm hoping other companies do this, is 2-hour game trials for any game that is on that service. It's mandatory to have one, but they're not making the companies make them. Sony is going to make them. So they're not making them do extra work, and it's anything over $34. And I can't remember, it was Wooly that made this point where Wooly and Pat were talking about it. And they're like, well, then you're going to get some developers that bitch that, but hey, you can beat my game in 2 hours. Then Pat went, cool. Why does your game cost $34 if you can beat it in 2 hours? Oh, got it. And now it's going to be the weird thing where are you going to try and hide all the shit that's in your game after the 2-hour mark? But the other thing is they're actually mentioned that there's going to be up-res versions. They're not going to be just shit ports thrown on it. And one thing that only I care about, I think out of the four of us, is that they're actually going out and making like trophies and achievements and stuff for all the games that are being added onto it. That I think is kind of cool.
That's
so there's
pretty
like an actual
cool.
incentive, but it's like, it's not for everybody. I will openly say that if you don't want to get it, it's whatever, but it's just, it'll be cool that that's an option and they have it in tiers. So they don't go, you have to pay blank or else. I do like tiered options for a lot of stuff. But it's, like I said, it's not for everyone. But another thing that they said also that I do like is that if you already owned copies of some of those old school games, you could just download them and you don't need the service to play it.
That is good because you don't want to do the Rockstar thing of you got to pay $60 to play it again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice.
Wait, are you saying that? I thought we established that the GTA Definitive Edition was like the best game of the year, though.
No, I was talking about the fact you got to pay $60 to get GTA 5 Definitive Super Edition for PS5, Xbox Series X.
But yeah, is it? Can you guys? When outside of Skyrim, when is the last time that a company has released the same game for 3 console generations straight?
Resident Evil 4.
Still been profitable.
Resident Evil 4.
As that profitable though?
Yeah, I'm sure if I look at the sales chart, still probably profitable.
I know, but I'm just like in a row. They just basically they forget when they go, oh crap, they made a new console. We need to put 4 on it.
Yeah, it's Skyrim versus Resident Evil 4 for what will be the most released game in history.
Yeah, and the worst part is, and I would like to make a bet if we're still doing this podcast 4 years from now, that the stockholders of Take-Two and Rockstar openly said that Red Dead Redemption 3 is in development. That was made public in an earnings call.
Mm-hmm.
If that fucking game comes out before GTA 6, I'm going to do backflips naked down. I
don't think it will.
It took 8 years after they started development to make Red Dead
they did
Redemption
announce
2.
GTA 6 is happening.
But, as happening.
That's all they said. It's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when they announced that GTA 5 was happening, they went out with a full-on announcement trailer. Hey, it's in development. It took a long fucking time, but at least they showed something to show, hey, we're trying. Same with Red Dead Redemption 2. But when it came to like GTA 6, especially after everyone's gone, the Benz is gone. I believe both of the Hausers are gone.
One of them's gone.
One of them's left.
One of them's left.
One of them's left?
Dan?
I think it was Dan Hauser.
Because he was the one that made the crunch comments about RDR2 that pissed a bunch of people off.
Yeah, and then he left like once last year.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sam that stayed.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know which
I
one.
think Sam. To be honest, I can't tell which is which.
I've never even seen pictures of them. I know their last name's Howard.
One of them's bald.
As far as I know, I believe Sam is primarily a producer and Dan Houser is the writer. Like he's written.
I think the writer left and the producer stayed.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then that really worries me because I know, like all of them, like the best friends and all that, they're very critical about how Rockstar is with how they do stories.
Mhm.
I still maintain that regardless of that, their stories are amazing, and that
I think
I
that
think
their
Pat's way
Red
more of
Dead
an RDR too.
stories are really amazing. I think their GTA stories as of late have been very lacking.
They haven't had a good story in a GTA, in my opinion, since San Andreas.
Yeah, I mean, I like parts of 2008 of GTA 4, but it's not fully perfect. And GTA 5 is just
GTA 4 has a great third act, and Lost in the Damned, in my opinion, is probably the best story between the four of them, or between the three of them. And GTA 5 has probably the most fun, but also has the weakest.
yeah, it's fun. The heists are good, but as a
In
plot, it
terms of
does
like
not work.
actual plot, it's ugh.
Do you guys like how they present games in those? Like some people get very critical, especially Pat, which I highly disagree of. And he's one of those people that will be like, well, yeah, I paid an hour and then my friends told me blah, blah, blah. The hyper realistic, actually picking the stuff up and doing the whatever types of things that they kind of went in with.
I like that in Red Dead.
liked it.
I loved in Red Dead 2 because I think it helped tie yourself to the characters, which makes everyone's inevitable death much more depressing. But that works for Red Dead Redemption because there's no winking at the camera. This is silly, huh?
Yeah.
GTA 5. I tried to play that a couple of months back. Decided like, oh, is it that bad a game? Did I really? Oh, the hyper parody that gets old so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, GTA Online. That's also the thing still.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
get
when
me
it makes them
started.
$1 million a day.
That's why GTA 6 hasn't happened because I guess they can just sit back and literally get
They
rich.
don't need to, and that's
It's a
why
cash
I
cow.
think it's going to take forever. Because
That's why apparently they haven't even done anything. Why they abandoned Red Dead Online?
Oh god, that was the saddest thing this week. Where it's like we have a conference and the guy in charge of Take-Two said we're going to be continuing to support Red Dead 2, and then everyone cheered. And then apparently 5 minutes later, Rockstar also called them. They said, clarification: we'll keep the servers on. It's like, wow.
Do you know what the best thing they could do right now for Red Dead Redemption 2? Make Red Dead Nightmare 2.
The thing that every human being knows, and also they just put Red Dead. Actually, that's on the PlayStation system. Is Red Dead Redemption 2, 1 Undead Nightmare?
It was
That
so
would
good
be
they sold
so
it as a
cool.
separate game.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Mhm.
But no, the online thinks it's good enough to just put Halloween masks on your characters and like throw cult enemies at you every so often.
Okay, so up next, we did kind of briefly talk about Halo. But I wanted to talk to you guys about Halo Infinite and my thoughts on this game.
Yes, we've been. This has been one thing that I've personally been waiting on pins and needles for you to talk about it on the podcast because between all of us, Master Chief is in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's not.
I think there were missteps. I think there were missteps, and I think that there were things that they did right with this game.
It was not Halo 5.
It was not Halo 5, but there were things, I have to admit, there were things that I kind of missed about Halo 5, or things that I think were at least missing from the narrative that I kind of wish we had seen more of, or that I wish had at least been referenced. Like what happened to Blue Team? I know that this is going to be covered in like the novels and stuff, but I mean, like, I don't know. I personally, like, I don't hate Osiris and Blue Team as characters in the universe. I think that you can do something with them. I just wish that they hadn't. I mean, Buck. Buck is on Osiris, for God's sake.
Yes, but they got Jar Jar in the way that everyone hated them in 5, and every writer went, "Well, guess we're gonna ignore them now."
Yeah, but that's the thing. They kind of overcorrected, in my opinion, because it's like, I don't think you can make a game like Infinite I mean, like, they completely wiped the board entirely clean. And to me, it just, like I wanted to see more of the Infinity. I like that ship. And I think that what they should have done was started off and that in that ship and just see us like have us be there in the moment seeing it get destroyed. Because like it would have been so cool to play as Master Chief. That just felt like it was from an entirely different game. It felt like I was walking into the ending of an entirely different game.
Which is funny because
Um,
Halo 5 had the same problem of like things don't make sense unless you read all this supplemental material, and this one does not have supplemental material, but has that same sort of weird.
This one
gap.
just basically has nothing.
Yes.
Which is fine, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. It felt like a retread to me more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's an unpopular opinion, I know, but like, you know, they just kind of overcorrected and went in the opposite direction of this is going to be just like Halo Combat Evolved, which is, you know, I
Fair.
know that that's what everybody wants, but I don't know. I kind of didn't want that. Like, I like Blue Team and I like Buck at least, and I want to know what happened to all these different characters and
Yep.
stuff. Like maybe the DLC they'll touch on this.
Maybe. But yeah, but Osiris and Blue Team, they're hanging out with Jessica from Resident Evil Revelations, just doing something you'll never see again.
Jessica from Resident.
Well, I mean, look, no, we're gonna see them again. I think, at least in the novels, we're gonna see them again. But like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I liked the fact that Chief actually had somebody like Lasky who was in his corner. I just, I wish that they hadn't just kind of taken that all away from us. But
Oh, and the Quarians from Mass Effect Andromeda, they're also in the same party.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, you're right about that. But like,
But
I
yeah,
don't
Lasky
know.
was a good character. I actually like him a lot in Halo 4.
Lasky was a good character, right? I mean, what happened to Sarah Palmer? What happened to all these people? Like, you can't just. I don't know. For me, it was like I'm not a person who sits there and goes like, okay, we're going to completely wipe the slate clean and not have anything from the previous game just because everybody hated it. It's like, why don't you take something with those characters? Why don't you take something that you created and actually do something interesting and meaningful with it?
I am okay with them not doing evil Cortana, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You set up this big AI revolt and then
know.
it doesn't happen?
I know. It's.
I mean,
Actually,
it kind of did, but, you know, it happens
Oh,
in
God.
cutscenes.
just realized the greatest comparison here is actually from Assassin's Creed, where it's like, we're going to keep setting up that we got to fight the ancient space god woman, and then, oh, actually, that got taken care of in a comic that was like a side story, and then every game never talks about it again.
Yeah.
It's like,
But like I said, I know that's the unpopular opinion, and I know that people disagree with me. That's fine.
no,
You know,
I
but
I understand.
it's just
It was sloppy. You could have been done
it
better on
was
that part.
very, very sloppy. And the weapon was irritating for me for most of the game until she actually got serious and understood. You know, a pilot is the most irritating, incessantly wimpy guy I have ever seen in a video game. I'm sorry, I did not care for that character.
Could you imagine what he was like in the original version?
Oh God.
So I'm coming into this only knowing Reach. From what
Reach
I
is
saw
my
of
favorite.
gameplay,
Reach is my favorite
Reach
too.
is great. I love Reach from what I remember. I need to play it again.
It holds up.
But
Yeah.
from what I saw, the gameplay looked really fun, but
That is solid.
it was so
Yeah.
weird to see Halo pivot into an open world experience because, and I'm speaking personally, as much as I loved the atmosphere,
Mhm.
there was one level in Reach that, in my opinion, really brought the game down, and that was, you know, flying around in the city because I loved the atmosphere.
I love that level.
But for me, like, it felt like because the game for the most part is like, all right, you're going straight over here, just you know, you're a squad and all this stuff, and that one just felt the most experimental. But
Well, depending on what you do, you can actually change certain things in that level.
Yeah,
Really?
New
Like-
Alexandria's level. I like that level a lot, actually.
Yeah, you
Actually,
can
Buck
actually
shows up in
change
that level.
certain things. Buck will show up, yeah, but only sometimes. Not all
It's
the
like
time.
it's like a. It's not so much open world. It's like randomly generated. It's like 10
a
possible
random
events
mission.
you can have, and like you get 3, I think, per try.
like
Yeah.
it's worth it in my opinion. As much as I do have some problems with that level, it's worth it in my opinion for the grunt rave, you know.
Grunt rave.
But like, I don't know. I want to know this: does the open world completely change the psychology of the game? If that makes sense.
Bit.
To a degree. Yeah. I think that the only way that it changed it negatively, in my opinion, is just the fact that they reuse a lot of the assets in the game. I mean, that's sort of to be expected nowadays. Like that's kind of just how games are made now, especially in open worlds. But they really do in this game. And I think it actually shows a little bit of a weakness because the environments in this game are kind of all just one of two ways. It's either going to be the outdoorsy, sort of foresty environment that you see, or it's going to be the interiors of like the Forerunner structures, and it's very repetitive in my opinion. So I don't know, Tyler, what did you think of that?
I liked it, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite Halo in the series.
Yeah.
I've kind of been hot and cold on all the major ones, 4, 5, and 6. There's a lot I like in 4, but there's also a lot of things that, quick time events. Yay.
Yes.
But I thought
And
that
also
had probably the best
everything's in
emotional.
triplicate.
Everything you do 3 times. I
Everything.
thought the emotional heft I thought was really good, and it's a shame that the next
Yes.
2 games undid that.
The
every
writing
time.
in Halo 4 was really strong, I thought. The relationship
Yes.
between Master Chief and
That's why
Cortana was very
I like the weapon's a fun character, but I kept going like, but I saw her die in the 4th one. I kind of wish it stayed that way. But Microsoft, they won't let that happen because if I pull up my phone, it just can be called the Cortana app, so you can't have her dead forever.
Okay, I will say this for the pilot though, like once you get to the scene where Master Chief kind of bears his soul to him and actually has a real actual human conversation with him, I feel like he did get better as a character.
I didn't hate him, but he was never my favorite character.
But he just really irritated me throughout the first maybe half of the game. I would say maybe a little bit over half. That's not a deal breaker to me as much as just the fact that, the villain was kind of okay. So they set up Atriox as your main villain, right? The opening, like that opening cinematic is all about how Atriox basically kicks Master Chief's ass. And it's like, so now we're on the banished ship and we're going through there and they're talking about how badass Atriox is and how he's gonna be like, he's cutting promos and everything. And then you get to the point where he's not even in the game. It's this other brute guy.
Yeah.
Who was like his mentor or something. And it's just, I don't know. Until, finally Atriox, spoiler alert, he shows up at the end. But it was disappointing. It was disappointing. You don't even get to take, you don't get to exact any kind of revenge on him or anything like that, which I guess.
It's the inverse of what they did with Ajuma Jama in the 5th game.
Yes. Oh, don't get me wrong. Halo 5 is a complete mess. It's a shit show. It's just, it's not the game that we were promised or not. But I don't believe in just taking something that's like a pile of crap and just you just push it aside and don't even talk about it anymore. I don't know. To me, that just doesn't seem responsible.
It's called the Star Wars sequels.
I was literally about to, I say that as someone that loves the Star Wars sequels, or at least I love 2/3 of them. But I was literally about to bring up that comparison from what you're telling me, at least, because I've always been, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast too. I've always been of the mindset that just because a story or a section of an established canon is bad or widely considered as not great, that doesn't mean you should toss it aside. You should instead work around it. If you think in your mind, as someone involved in a creative team, you know what, I don't really like how that progressed. I don't really like where they left us in. Okay, do something about it. That's why, in my opinion, I say this as a comics fan, not to get all too super nerdy and all that, but in my opinion, as a Daredevil fan, I'm going to get super nerdy for a second. I really hate Charles Soule's run on Daredevil. Especially following up a run like Mark Waid and Chris Samney's colorful and beautiful exploration on positivity as well as the dark cynicism that you have inside, while also, making it fun and swashbuckling like Daredevil started out as with Stan Lee and Bill Everett. I understand that Charles Soule came in and wanted to do something more akin to like the grittier style that everyone's used to with Daredevil, but going from this bright, optimistic ending that Mark Wade had, where it was like, you know what, things are gonna be better, and then you turn the page, the first page of Charles Soule's Daredevil run, and everyone fucking hates Matt Murdock again. We're back to square fucking one. Nobody knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil anymore. Everybody's miserable. Everybody's cynical. And it's just like, that. What was that? That was such a huge pivot. And then you have someone like Chip Zdarsky, who clearly loves Frank Miller and all that stuff. He took the stuff from Charles Soule and was just like, okay, I can work with that.
The problem started when you said you like Frank Miller.
Okay, I will... He has my heart forever as getting me into comics. And plus, I am adapting a Frank Miller issue of Daredevil into a short film. I have that little bit of a bias, but I totally understand modern Frank Miller.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, classic Frank Miller was actually...
Oh, yeah. But like, when it comes to Halo, what exactly was it about Halo 5 that was so bad?
It was accurate to the commercials and that storyline.
You're sitting down because you can be here a while on that question.
Yeah.
In like the most succinct way, because one day I will do this for you guys, especially because I want to be on the same page as you guys when it comes to this stuff. I will play through all the Halo games.
Yeah, Brock's kind of right. It's like the commercial promised something that would have been great.
Play Halo 5 first, and then watch the commercials after.
Yes, like it promises the main character is going to go rogue, and then you're going to fight him as this new character is going to be amazing. He bitch slaps him in like one scene, and that's about
Wait a
it.
minute. Was Halo 5 the one where Luke Cage was like the other protagonist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I was trying to remember. Was that who that played him? Yes, that was Locke.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mike Coulter?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they used his likeness in the game in Halo 5, but they didn't use his voice.
Which is a bit weird, but
That was odd.
What?
yeah, and all the ads were literally, it's like, you gotta hunt the truth. There was no truth. It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
And also the most depressing thing was when like was it Bungie put out like not Bungie, fucking hell, G43 put out like a picture of like, here's all the supplemental material you have to read and listen to and play to understand this game. And it's like, excuse me, you want me to read Fall of Reach, watch these comics, read these comics, watch this live action stuff, listen to a podcast, play all these games? It's like, this is homework.
That immediately.
I mean, I enjoyed listening to the
Yeah,
podcast.
no.
I enjoyed listening to the podcast because the podcast was freaking awesome.
Oh, it was a good podcast, but I'm like, it's literally gun to your head. Listen to the podcast, or you're not gonna understand anything, and also play all the Spartan Ops.
But here's the thing: you play all that stuff, and you listen to the podcast and everything. You watch all the ads, and you read all the novels, and then you go into this game, and nothing is relevant.
It makes more sense than if you didn't, but it still doesn't make all the sense.
But it's like they just treat it like it's not even relevant.
Yeah.
Because look at what they do with Jewel and Imdama and stuff like that. I mean, like in the books, he's this big major threat. In the game, they wipe him out in the cinematic. That's it.
He's a red shirt.
Yeah. What was the point of any of this? What was the point of Halsey losing her arm?
That felt full on. Like C-3PO has a red arm now.
Yeah. Exactly. It just made no sense.
Such a lust for vengeance. Who?
So that's what I mean. I mean, I understand people who say that, like, Halo 5, just leave it alone, just throw it away, whatever. But like at the same time, I mean, there are kernels of ideas there that you could mine for some good storytelling and that you could mine for good character arcs. And
also the co-op companion AI was terrible, and they make you fight a boss 8 times.
That's true.
The same boss 8 times, and he doesn't
That is
change.
true. Like I said, it's not a good game. It's not a good game. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I like Blue Team. I felt a connection to Blue Team because I read those novels, and the
characters aren't bad.
Yeah,
just like the gameplay with them isn't, which is like paradoxical.
And here's the thing, to not to segue into the next topic, but going back and watching Halo
Forward into Dawn, I think is what it's called.
Forward Unto Dawn, yes. Going back and watching that. How is that a little web series that was made for probably very little budget? How is
Very.
that better than the actual Halo TV show that we got?
I don't. It's the video game curse where when you get more money, you make a worse movie.
Okay, but
That's-
listen. You say what you will, but at the very least, the Halo show has what all the fans have been wanting from the very beginning.
A Chevy Suburban.
No, not just that. Hot, steamy Spartan sex.
With a Covenant spy. That
Oh,
leads to the
yeah.
fall of Reach, because that's how he wanted that to happen. Did you want some
The fall of
Riverdale
Reach
and One
happens
Tree Hill in
when
your
Master
Halo?
Chief falls in the sheets.
Oh, but
all
guess
those-
what?
Like your favorite team from Halo Reach, Noble Team, they all died because somebody fucked someone.
But here's the thing. It doesn't happen.
What?
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
Okay.
happen.
So I'm just going to spoil this entire freaking show because, look, let's
It's not
face
worth
it.
the effort.
It's not worth the effort to even hide anything from this show. The season finale is one of the most what the fuck ridiculous, stupid, nonsensical things I've ever seen in my life. Like, so that whole thing where they're building up to the fall of Reach, right? And you think that they're going to actually show up. By the way, Reach City on Reach, not New Alexandria. It's Reach City.
That felt like Crackdown 2 level naming, where it's like you are an
Oh,
agent of the agency
God.
named Agent who has to fight the super mutants called the Super Mutants in Pacific
Of the
City. It's
mutants.
like what is this naming convention?
Yeah, what the hell, man? I mean, everybody at Bungie who's sitting there planning the Destiny, whatever spinoffs they're gonna do for Destiny. I mean, they should watch this and just have like a margarita and just laugh their asses off because this is so clearly not what they would have done.
They didn't even do any Halo Reach fan service in the last episode.
Not even a thing. I don't think they even know what Noble Team is.
No, they
I don't
don't.
think they know what other Spartans are.
No.
They don't even know what a Spartan is, for that
Fiona?
matter.
They didn't play the games because they didn't want to feel hand tied to what was in them.
Oh, but they
That-
went through the boot camp though.
That was the most
The
deflating.
Halo boot camp.
That statement was the most deflating thing ever. It's like, so yeah, we didn't play anything and we're making it up as we go along.
The best part is like have someone tell you what happens, and that's fine. You don't have to
You could just
physically play
you
them
could just read the
yourselves.
wiki
But
summaries.
when you basically tell me, yeah, I don't need what I'm doing to be handcuffed by the thing that everyone liked. Thank you.
Clearly, they didn't. Clearly,
The way they say these statements for all these things that are made nowadays makes me want to bash my head up against a wall. You basically just went, fuck you nerds. You're going to like what I make. I'm better.
You would have been on point if it would a jock grab Master Chief and shove his head in the toilet.
Fucking
He wouldn't have had a helmet on.
nerds!
He wouldn't have had
I
a
mean-
helmet on.
that's kind of almost what happened to him with Vanek in Episode 8.
That is actually
During the
basically what happens.
beatdown that Master Chief took.
Which was somehow worse than the one that he got by Locke.
Yeah. Oh God. It's just I can't even speak anymore. But no, honestly, this show, I can't believe we waited over 10 years, 15 years, however many.
2007.
Originally trying to make a movie for this eons ago.
It was in 2007 was the original attempt, and it was originally going to be written by D.B. Weiss, one of the Game of Thrones showrunners. So, boy, bless your stars, we didn't get that.
Well, it was originally going to be written by Alex Garland also.
That was another
Yeah.
version. Alex Garland was involved
D.B.
at one
Weiss
point.
is good when he has material.
But I thought research was for, themes for fifth graders.
I mean, this would have been better than this.
Maybe that's
It
a
would've had
damning thing.
Moon at
Oh,
the
come
very
on.
least.
I know, Uwe Boll's not busy, right? I mean,
But does he still make movies? I honestly haven't checked in a while.
No.
Let's just have him let's have him be the season 2 showrunner and just have everybody
Quick,
wearing
just contact him on his
cardboard suits and shit.
I think
Ran-
we hired
ran over
a
time.
new showrunner for season 2 also that actually does know like the Halo lore too.
I don't
I'm not
know if I
trying to
trust
give you
any
hope.
of that anymore.
I'm not trying to give you hope, but like I said, I'm not a Halo fan, but I have been continuously blown away by how cheap the show looks.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't worry, if you want to get you away, we'll just talk to him on his Letterboxd account. He'll probably talk back to you.
the whole show looks like it was filmed on like a high school Canon camera that they gave to their AV club or something like that.
I think you're being too polite. I feel like this is like an iPhone or just like someone just
The quote, I believe it's Matt
sure.
McMuscles. It looks like it was filmed on a ham sandwich.
Yeah, it's
a toaster.
It does. It really does.
like the everything looks so flat despite having high contrast too, and like the sand and like the everywhere around it, but at the same time it looks so synthetic and clean. And correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I know that it would look that way because of polygons and the Xbox, but isn't Halo supposed to be a gritty fucking story?
A bit.
I
Like,
would know if
isn't it supposed to be
gritty's the
about-
right word.
It can be.
I mean, Reach was the
But
darkest.
it shouldn't look super clean. You're correct.
No, there should be at least some character to it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a fucking war.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate weapon of war. Basically, being told, at least as far as I remember from the little bit I played of Halo 1, like, shit, we're getting invaded. Quick, go R2-D2 yourself over to the ring planet. They'll tell you what to do.
Yep. The ship in that one had some character. It was like, oh no, the hulls don't look like they've been cleaned lately.
And there are no other AIs on the show, even though we know from like the games and the novels and everything that there are other AIs. I mean, I'm not saying that they should have done a one-to-one recreation of the games. That's not at all what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that at least make it a competently produced show and at least know some of the lore and at least make the idea, like the main idea should be the humanity versus the Covenant and not humanity versus itself or whatever.
Yeah, that's the weird thing was like they depicted the UNSC as like being like something out of like Starship Troopers. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a satire now?
No, as in
No.
kind of like space Nazis now, like how Starship Troopers depicts its people instead of like kind of more Star Trek-y, like alliance based.
Halsey is basically just like the Hitler of this show in a way. Like she's just irredeemably evil.
Yeah. She's Madam Hitler.
I don't even know this fucking series, and I know that that's wrong. That's like if you made a fucking Castlevania show and just made it about... But what if humanity were the real monsters and don't even include vampires?
What is a man?
What
a
if Dracula
miserable
was
little
right?
pile of secrets.
Actually, I've come and watch a show where Dracula is actually the hero and like the Beaumont are just like assholes.
Like my threshold of like video game shows that I can think of right now, there's really only one that I can think of that's probably knocking it out of the park, and it's over now, and unfortunately it is tied to a sex pest. But Castlevania on Netflix is phenomenal, and that is how you adapt the basic ideas of a video game, which for Castlevania's case is about as bare bones as it gets. Dracula's at the top of that tower. Go kick some ass.
I was gonna say, I'm like, but the advantage here is that Castlevania is never the most complicated franchise.
It was never the most complicated, true, but at the same time, HBO is doing The Last of Us, and I'm not gonna lie, the little things I'm hearing about that,
I don't know
I'm a
anymore.
little bit more excited. Like the fact that they're gonna spend, according to them, like they're gonna have Joel and Ellie go to Jacksonville first. Like they're not going to meet up at like the dam, but they're going to have a meet up at Jacksonville and have everything kind of set up right there.
Yeah,
I think that's smart.
Now the one thing about that series I'm worried about is that it's the opposite problem of they're doing the one-to-one thing. Like, hey, look, it's that scene from The Last of Us. I could be playing that right now.
But that what Josh just said, it sounds like they're not doing that.
Yeah, because I mean, the dam is meant to be primarily, from what I remember, because I played it fairly recently, it's like half a puzzle thing, and then half, story.
It is.
Oh, I thought you meant Philadelphia for a moment. I'm like, okay, it's been a while since I played The Last of Us.
No. Yeah, and then they switched up the, I believe, winter and fall are reversed.
Yeah, they're going them at different times. They're making it close enough, but not, which is how these things should go. A lot of people get pissed when certain stuff doesn't happen. To me, you can make the endpoint the exact same and vary the middle, and you can get surprised by stuff. You don't need to do changes, but it's like, again, you get to a point of what like Tyler just said, where it's like, I saw that, I did that, I didn't do this to get a whatever. Like, gives you a little bit of difference.
That was a problem with all the Resident Evil movies.
It's tricky.
Yeah,
because
that was the problem.
you risk going either
Among
in that
many things.
direction, where it's like, I could just play the video games. What am I even doing here? And it's not just for the old fogies that are like, I don't understand your Nintendos. I played Pong. What is this? I just want to watch it. And then you show them that, and they're like, that didn't feel as exciting as you made it out to be. It's like, well, no shit. You could.
Yeah.
Or you go so far in another direction where it's like, did you even like what you were adapting? Uncharted, like Halo and Uncharted. It feels so far removed in the worst ways.
I don't know. I mean, I'm biased here, but I think that was at least the best recent movie adaptation of a video game from the last 6 months.
No,
I will never.
Sonic by a country mile.
I will.
If we're gonna count Sonic, I was counting Sonic as something its own thing because I feel like it's not even fair to do it as a movie, a video game adaptation. It's like it's a movie.
Yeah, but it's Sonic 2.
I will never
It's really
forgive
Sonic 2.
Uncharted for what they did to my wife, Chloe Frazier. What they did to her was. But for
now understand every Jill Valentine fan in the world.
I for my money, I will still the golden standard for me, TV wise, is Castlevania, and movie wise, I still haven't seen the Sonic games, but I probably should. The Sonic movies,
pretty good.
I probably should, but for me, my gold standard is probably Detective Pikachu. I will defend that movie to my dying breath.
To be fair, most people don't know it's a video game adaptation because that franchise is only in Japan.
Fair point, but I mean, Pokemon's such a hard thing to do because it's like, oh, it's Karate Kid, but with pets.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about the implications of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That world's economics make no fucking sense.
Going to a fucking a Snorlax or an Alakazam or something like that. Sweep the leg.
Yeah, every kid, when they become like 8 years old, their mom kicks them out to go get some Pokemon and go beat up some people.
Yeah.
You got a problem with that? Alakazam. No mercy.
Always attack.
No, be there.
I'm
Okay.
surprised that you had that patience to watch the whole series, Kiona. You deserve like an Olympic medal or something.
You do.
No, I mean, I don't know. I was sort of fascinated by it because it's like watching a train wreck.
I was kind of the same way. At a point, I'm like, I kind of want to see just how fucked up this will get.
Exactly. I just wanted, and boy, did they not disappoint because
Yeah,
that
the
last
Reach one is the
episode was
lowest one.
seriously the fucking.
And they talk about how well it does, and I'm like, I want them to fill out a survey. Enjoy watching, hate watching.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys want to know like the real spoiler here that of like the last few minutes?
I do not care.
Oh,
Okay. So here's what happens in the last few minutes of this of season 1 of Halo. Okay.
Season 1's being polite at this point.
Right. But like, so here's what happens. So they're on like the Covenant Holy World or whatever. It's like some place that McKee told them about. McKee being the Covenant spy that Master Chief falls in fucking love with. And like, so he's there with the rest of Silver Team, which are the Spartans taking the place of Blue Team. Thank God they did that at least, because at least my Blue Team doesn't get sullied by the stupid ass show. Anyway, so he's there. There's a big pitched battle. It's very bad CGI throughout the whole entire thing. It's like dudes just the camera's swerving around like a drunken goose. The freaking like Master Chief is just getting flung around by the not Atriox brute, I guess, or maybe he's supposed to be Atriox. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. The brute speaks saying Haley, by the way. I don't
I
know.
saw that and I was
whatever.
literally going like, that's like having a grunt go, what?
What the hell was that? Anyway, so then in the last few minutes, they revealed that Halsey intended for Cortana to basically take over Master Chief's body. So when in order to do that, Master Chief has to die. He has to be basically a corpse for her to actually like take over his entire system and just basically reboot him into like Cortana Chief. So he says, in order to save everybody and to save Silver Team and to get the artifact back from the Covenant, the artifact is the big, MacGuffin of the season. So it's basically a star map that leads them to Halo. The Halo.
Is it a Sith
ring.
Wayfinder?
Basically, it's a Sith Wayfinder, essentially.
So we gotta get the magic dagger to get to the Death Star again.
So he says, so he goes to Cortana. He's like, okay, I'm gonna just let them kill me, basically. So he sits there and he goes just walks right into their line of fire. They're all shooting him dead. And Atriox takes one mighty swing with his not gravity hammer and kills Chief. Basically flings him about. And so then Cortana takes him over, literally reboots him, is in control of his body, and she does a better job of being Master Chief than Master Chief did. Because, first of all, the helmet doesn't come off. Secondly, doesn't speak. Thirdly, just like mows down everybody. And that's it. He saves everybody, saves Silver Team. Just like, well, I mean, she does now because it's basically Cortana Chief. So it's Corchiefna.
I was
I
just
don't know.
Is there a way we can combine Cortana and Chief? Wait, I got it. Chief.
Yeah.
Jen Taylor got paid. That's the best thing about this show.
Yeah. That's the only thing about this show that I can consider redeeming. I mean, like, what?
Come on, sweet.
What did I
Marie.
just watch?
Come on, it's not working.
Yeah.
That is what?
Where are they going to go with this?
I'm still
And Halsey gets away from the UNSC, right? She gets away in her little escape pod. Suddenly she has a clone of herself that they capture. I mean, I guess like in some secret lab or something, she had like a clone made of her or something that was able to, that was like her stand-in clone whenever she needed one.
Yeah, it's
It makes no sense. The editing in this show, by the way, is really bad too, because like they do some edits in this show where it's you have no idea what the passage of time is. You have no idea like how long it's been since the last shot. I don't know. It's a lost cause.
Fairness, I think bad editing in TV is just a standard industry thing. I don't know what the hell happened, but lately TV has been so horribly edited. And I blame streaming for it, honestly. But Jesus Christ, the show looks fucking horrible. It sounds horrible. Why is Master Chief in love with anybody that isn't his AI Twitch streaming girlfriend? He dies. He in season 1. Why do they do that? Why does everybody fucking do this when it comes to like adapting something where they're like, you know what? Let's make the main character kill themselves nobly in the first season, or let's do something to make people think this shit, is it real? Is it actually happening? And it's like, oh my God, why did that make me unreasonably angry?
Because you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a shit version of what they do with Commander Shepard.
And I heard...
Yes.
That was the weirdest part.
I heard some people saying on Twitter that they're like, as a Halo show, it's garbage. It's a 2 out of 10. But as a sci-fi show, in general, if you remove Halo, it's not bad. Can you do that and remove yourself as a Halo fan? Remove Halo from the equation and see this as a general science fiction story?
Well, a lot of people seem to think that that's what it was.
And they just slapped Halo on it.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
It's likely. But I mean, I don't know that I would even call it good. It's so incompetently written. I don't know. for me, it's a if you want to call it like a lot of people kind of compare it to Galactica, I guess, to like the reimagined Galactica series from the 2000s. It's got a little bit of that in terms of the politics within the UNSC and all that, but I don't know.
Battlestar Galactica is so much better than
It's
this.
so much better.
Was Halo ever about the politics though?
Not really.
It was
Not
the
really, in
politics of when and where he got to pull a trigger.
Oh, it's
In the
more,
books,
you gotta
they
fight the bad
talk
guys.
about in the books. There's an insurrection. They do talk about that. But I mean, when a huge Covenant armada comes and starts glassing planets and stuff like that and destroying all sorts of human life, you kind of just put the old arguments aside to kind of band together,
The
But
only
they didn't do that
politics
in this show.
The only politics that really ever, quote unquote, politics was more of a, I want to say, tension with the whole. How long is it? What is the time frame when AIs need to get reset or they go bad?
7 years.
7 years before they
is
die.
Chief not wanting to shut down Cortana?
Yeah.
That's
That's
like
Halo
the closest
4.
thing to politics that I can honestly think
The
of.
original 3 games, there's even less.
But even then, like from what it sounds like, from what you guys are telling me, politically, that doesn't even have anything to do. It's also just like a thing that they made in lore, and it's emotionally tied to Chief because, I mean, he was in the shit with Cortana for 3+ games, and it's like, I genuinely, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I interpreting this wrong? But it's like he's been through so much with this AI. He started off like just as this killing machine, but then over the course of it, this is pretty much his only companion, his only bit of humanity for the most part. She creeps in through him.
I'm sorry, you mentioned Battlestar Galactica. It just crossed my mind. Wasn't Trisha Helfer in ODST?
Yes.
Yes.
She was Veronica Dare, I think.
Yes, that was it. It's like, yes. Also
Like,
an aspect.
Like, am I wrong in that reading of Master Chief
not really.
and Cortana's relationship?
I wouldn't say you're
I
wrong.
mean, he had Blue Team. There was one cool reference in Halo Infinite that I thought was really interesting, which was when he was supposed to shut down the weapon, and like he was worried that she was kind of going off the deep end and sort of learning too much about herself and accessing too many systems and what have you. And so he starts the shutdown process, and his password is actually like Samuel134 or something, and it's like, or it was something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the code word for it was in fact Sam or something, and that was the reference to the member of Blue Team that didn't make it on one of their early missions. So I actually like that, but it was the game was kind of an odd experience for me, even though it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was terrible or bad. I just wish that certain things were better or had a little bit more variety or something, or like like they followed up on some plot threads that I wish they didn't just drop. But the TV show for me was kind of not as redeemable as Halo Infinite, even though they haven't done a good job of keeping Halo Infinite going all that well in terms of seasonal content and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's no co-op campaign still. I mean, I'm sitting here wondering, like, can the Marines actually climb onto the tank and be like like they used to in Halo 2? Like the Marines in that game, they don't even like climb up on the tank wheels or like and shoot from there. They just kind of run alongside the tank. One guy gets into the turret and that's it. Like if you're piloting like a Scorpion tank, it just doesn't. I don't know. They didn't program the AI for that apparently.
So what you're saying is the series is probably one of the best pieces of content you've ever seen in your life.
Exactly. A+ all the way.
It made me feel like playing a bad Halo game.
I mean, Master Chief fucks. Can we like?
This game franchise is over 21 years
Well,
old.
Cortana
Right?
watches.
Oh God, that's.
Oh my God! Oh.
Yeah.
She's into voyeurism.
She watches and then she literally becomes him.
Oh God, I don't even want to touch that with a 20-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What the hell?
Freud
What is
would
going
have
on?
a field day with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I give this series 2 months before they immediately pull the plug.
I keep saying I cannot wait that this gets a season 2 and that the Knuckles series comes out, and I want there to be a better viewership on Knuckles than the Halo show.
That might happen if it gets a second season.
Literally, all they would need to do for marketing with that is just, do you know the way to the better video game series? Come
They
on,
all-
Knuckles.
they
You want
actually
all
did-
they need? They have Idris Elba.
You know what's funny? They already did that joke in Sonic 2.
Oh my god, are you serious?
They're actually do.
Not that hard. They don't go that, but he asks him that question.
Yes, Dr. Robotnik does so. You know the way?
Yeah.
And the screenwriter is adamant that was not a reference, but I'd like to think it, I don't know, maybe Jim Carrey saw that and thought it'd be funny.
All right. So, any other final thoughts on Halo, Tyler?
Makes me feel bad for not always being the biggest fan of Halo 4 because, boy, it can get always worse.
Yeah, man. Halo 4 to me actually had more good points than bad, but
Yeah, I'd say so.
5 really screwed the pooch, and then now we have this TV series, and we have a non-existent co-op campaign, and I don't know if Forge has even made it into the game.
Tell me what's
Man,
with the
God,
multiplayer.
you guys act like the fact that you could play multiplayer was an important thing that made Halo really cool. Back
Yeah, I was gonna say the multiplayer. Oh,
Yeah, but the Banished have AIs now, so all is right with the world.
Yay. The
All
thing
is
that
right
was set
with
up in
season
Halo
2 of
2, Halo Wars
Infinite.
2.
Yeah. Okay, let's
God,
end
that-
on a more upbeat note, shall we?
I have never seen you so angry and Brock so resigned. in all my
I have
time.
nothing to add. You
Yeah.
could not. The last podcast we were on, I openly talked about how I have seen movies like Helen Keller versus the Night Wolves, and I won't touch this.
I mean,
what does
that
that
could-
say?
that could be enjoyable. That is more enjoyable than this crap that we got. I don't know, man.
I got nothing. I'm like, I'm letting them go because I got nothing.
I'll let you do your segue, Kiona, but I'll say my thoughts on Halo.
It's no DB Cooper
go
versus
ahead.
Bigfoot.
If you're gonna, God damn it, if you're gonna get Paramount Plus for anything, get it for Jackass and Clone High.
Yep.
I won't argue with that.
Well, if you watched Halo, you are a jackass.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is Brand Massacring.
Yeah.
It's just
How you kill a childhood.
It's just them sitting there watching Halo for 10 hours. And I'm going, this fucking sucks.
I like the Scorpions more than this shit.
I'd rather get hit in the nuts again.
So what was that positive note, Keon?
Okay, let's end on a more positive note. Let's think about what do we want to see in the upcoming Summer Games Fest / Not-E3. Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to?
I have one thing. I would very much like if Capcom would give me some details about that RE8 DLC that they've been hanging over my head like a freaking pendulum. It's made me literally go through every Resident Evil game and look at the DLC release just to realize how long it's been.
Possible Horizon DLC, and then
that'd be great.
It honestly, them to finally actually admit that RE4 remake exists.
Yeah, I at this point it's like, oh come on,
Yeah.
this is like the worst kept secret. Do it.
Or if it doesn't happen in a state of play, God of War Ragnarok next trailer and release date.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Also, the DLC with RE8, I don't care what it is. I would much prefer if it had the one character I don't not need to name drop, but something. It's been a year, Capcom. I think people like that character.
I think my dog just made a cameo in this video.
Yes, he did.
I would personally like to see. I would love, especially after the leak happened, I want to see if Konami gives a shit about
You're setting yourself for disappointment.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Look. When it comes to that, I'm just barely getting into Silent Hill as a franchise. I want to own these games. And you know what?
You can skip Downcoming.
Okay.
I don't know. You might want a good laugh.
Okay. You can watch the playthrough of Downcoming.
Yeah, watch their playthroughs. You can
the Axe Saga.
But you know what? Say what you will about Silent Hill Downpour. That Easter egg ending is perfect.
The best Easter egg ending is actually probably from Shattered Memory. The alien ending is actually the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, but like for me, I'm so starved to see something new from this franchise that I just got into.
If you think this is starved, imagine being a lifelong fan of the franchise.
Wait until the original Silent Hill creator, name is escaping me, but he's got a new game coming out called Slitterhead that looks wicked.
I want to see that. Yeah,
but really, really cool.
Like Silent Hill fans are about as self-loathing at this point as Game of Thrones fans, and they've waited as long for another book.
But okay, I'll just say briefly about those leaks. Like I said, I'm so starved for it. I'm not against it in general, just as long as it doesn't end like how Brock said the Medium ended. Because holy crap, that is horrible. But I like the idea of playing as a teenager again, and I like the little concept thing about like the girl with like the notes of self-loathing on her face and all that, and the monster in that one screenshot where it's like a whole bunch of sticky notes all over the wall and everything, and the creature is literally made of sticky notes. I don't know. I really, it's kind of basic, but it's also really, really inventive in my opinion. It's better than the Plague Master or something like that from Downpour, which was literally just a guy in the witch doctor mask.
You didn't like Hammerman with gas mask and trench coat?
Yeah, like that's so lame. And I don't know, having literally this character's self-loathing try and kill her, I think is really cool.
And you become it. And if you suck at the game, you get the bad ending where you become her.
If they keep those like choices, I swear to God, that is gonna suck ass.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's got Silent Hill's charm though, which is terribly pedantic things you need to do to get the good ending.
Yeah. And the other thing I hope, it's not gonna happen, but I want Kojima to just come out and be like, hey, we're doing something. Because I know he's working on something.
He just moved into the studio too.
He posts on his Instagram that like, hey, I'm like hard at work at shooting something, and I just hope it's not Death Stranding, the director's cut 2.0.
The sad part is I can totally see
the one thing I don't know is those
the
screenshots from the leaked version, which and touching on how many versions there are of that, kind of reminds me of RE7, which I can kind of believe them doing that. Because you know, it's funny. Resident Evil's taking from Silent Hill. Silent Hill gonna take from Resident Evil now.
And on a note for Crystal, since she's not here, I hope that we see an actual release date for not only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge and the Cowabunga collection. I'm sorry, but this summer doesn't cut it. I need an actual date, for fuck's sake. But I also hope that we get to see some more details on Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah, Breath of the Wild too. Yeah. You know, also I would like it to actually be a fun show that isn't just corporate pandering for 3 hours. It makes you want to die.
Exactly.
But you know, that's wishing into the wind.
That's really wishing for too much, I feel like.
Oh, I know.
Single main title Zelda game. Every single one. You delay it.
Like Bethesda makes it.
Yes.
Crystal makes the cameo.
Lovely say, ladies and gentlemen.
Every single one.
I feel like we should definitely just outro on that, but I'm just gonna say a couple of things that I really want to see. I want to see a little bit more Street Fighter 6, and I want to see Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2, please. All right,
is Capcom confirmed to be at Summerfest?
I don't know.
I don't know. I hope they are, but
I hope they are
we'll
too.
see. We shall see. Anyway, all right, that's it. We're done. This has been the relaunch episode of Renegade Arcade, guys.
Yay.
So we're gonna try and make this a more at least semi-regular feature on the site, and
Yes.
hopefully do a lot more of these, maybe within the next couple of weeks at least. But okay, guys, where can we find you guys online? Josh, let's start with you.
You can find me on Twitter at JSH Lozano, where I simp over Jennifer Walters and just rant about just creative decisions that are being made at the higher level with the biggest media conglomerate in the world. I'm coming for you, Michael Rat. You can also find me on Instagram at Joshua Lozano 64, where I don't post on there, but I do post on my story, and occasionally I will post first looks at my next short film, Roulette, which the rough cut should be done real soon, and from there it's just down to reshoots, and then finally a release either sometime in December, hopefully because it is a Christmas movie, or sometime early next year, because we want to do the festival run real soon. And then you can find me on YouTube at JoshBoy64, where sometimes I'll remember that I'm a content creator. But I still have my Kingdom Hearts video in the pipeline. Trust me, when you see it, you will understand why it has taken so long. It is such a personal project of mine. And I will make you guys cry over Kingdom Hearts.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if it came out quickly, it wouldn't be a Kingdom Hearts thing.
That's true.
I'm just following the Tetsuya Nomura approach. And likewise, you can find me in the
Will there be key lore in the trailer?
You can find me in the Facebook group.
Tyler, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Debunk File on YouTube. I'm at the moment currently writing and not necessarily editing, but making a couple videos that should be out in a couple of weeks. One on sharks in 1916, and speaking of weepers, making a 3-hour 5-part series on a shipping disaster from Chicago in 1915 that means a lot to me. So that's gonna be fun. Gonna have some actually high-profile YouTube cameos in that, I think.
Nice.
If you ever want to contact me, just literally go into r/history and ask about pirates. I will literally comment within 10 seconds. My account is literally set up to the moment anyone asks a pirate question, I'll be like, so about this question, let me explain to you everything that you just got wrong.
All right, and Brock, I want to say thank you, man, for hosting this on your Twitch site, and just for for always helping us out at RPC. So, Brock, where can everybody find you?
I try to be. I have a lot of free time on my hands, and I never use it properly. So I figure sometimes being a loner sitting at home can help. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, and I finally got my stream delay thing figured out. So when I get over my dumbass Twitch anxiety that's been kicking my ass lately, I'll be streaming a lot more on that.
All right.
On my channel currently, me and Mike are reviewing random things, but also fresh takes of Neon Genesis is still going on because, my good lord, that thing went forever. And probably within 7 weeks, the new one will be starting, which I actually got someone off of Upworks to do an animated intro for, which I'm freaking excited about. So
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, and then pretty much just once I do finally get back to streaming a lot more, though, I'll be back on Donkey Kong 64, and I'll be starting to play Control because I never actually did a full playthrough of it on there, and I want to do that. By the way, you want to know what I want to see? I said this on Twitter. Everyone said we should do, Insomniac shouldn't be the only people making superhero games. Remedy, make a Doctor Strange game.
I can see that.
Oh,
that'd be a better use of quantum break mechanics. Yeah,
I can see that.
Let's see Alan Wake 2 at Summerfest.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Or the remake they're doing of, I believe, the original 2 Max Payne games.
They are. They've announced.
I want more information.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, everywhere at Organoid Zero. Except
there you go.
Instagram because I don't use it. But I have it.
Okay, and I want to put in one more last plug for Andrew Smith and the guys over at From Gamers Magazine, because I interviewed him at least once, maybe twice, for the podcast. So, and I got my issue 3, which just came in today. About your favorite character.
Yeah! that's my baby. It's Aloy. That pixel art's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Man, this has been like this is an awesome magazine, man. It's got such great artwork and such great like articles in there. If anybody is interested, fromgamers.net, that's their website. Go ahead and pick up back issues and just let the team know that you guys, that you're enjoying their work. So, anyways, you guys can find me at Keona Tang on Twitter. That's KeonaTang. Also, you can find me on renegadepopculture.com. That's where we have all of our stuff. Basically, also Facebook, Twitter at Ren Pop Culture, Ren Not Stimpy. And that is it, guys. It's been fun. We're gonna keep this up hopefully, and we'll talk to you guys either right before Not-E3 or after Not-E3, and go over all the news.
This is like the Willis Tower versus the Sears Tower. What's the point?
All right, guys. We will talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Farewell.